Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Carmine Sabia for Explain America, and the Chicago mayor, he's just gone full insane, folks, with his proposal to stop crime in his city. Before we get started, please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Those little things really help us out, and they help our channel continue to grow. So the new mayor of Chicago, who is actually finding ways to be worse than Lori Lightfoot, is absolutely a socialist. He's campaigned with Bernie Sanders, and he had a very unique proposal to end crime or slow crime in his city. Now, it's not the only part of his proposal, but it was one that black conservative David Webb, a radio host, found very insulting. And I can see why he finds it insulting. The mayor of Chicago says reparations will slow crime. Now that sounds more like a ransom demand than anything else to me. What he's saying plays into the worst stereotypes. He's saying that black people are responsible for the crime, and he's saying if you pay them, they'll stop the crime. Well, that's counterintuitive. First of all, if you know anything about inner city crime, the number one victim of inner city crime are black people. So yeah, it's not a preponderance of black people that are committing the crime. So talking about reparations is absolutely ridiculous in this context. You want to make an argument for reparations, fine. I'm against it, but you can make an argument. This ain't it. And David Webb, he took him to school. I'm going to show you that clip. But before I do, I want to ask you to like, comment, share, and subscribe again. It does really help us out. I'm Carmine Sabia for Explain America. We love you guys. God bless you. Take care, everybody.
All right. Well, progressive Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson says the government has to get more involved in ending the city's out-of-control crime crisis by paying out reparations. Since Johnson took over from his predecessor, Lori Lightfoot, murders have dipped in the Windy City. But total violent crime, robbery, carjackings, aggravated battery, all up over the past year. Now claiming reparations payments to descendants of slaves, he says will help address Chicago's, quote, cycle of violence. Watch.
What I've built within these last 7 months, in order for us to have a better, stronger, and safer Chicago, it really requires the full force of government. We have stood up an entire office dedicated to reentry. So individuals who are returning to our communities who have been incarcerated because of failed policies, we'll have a welcoming space for them. I've added a $500,000 for restoration and reparations to address, again, the cycle of violence, which looks like school closings, closing of mental health facilities, of which I've invested in now. And so in order for us to build a better, stronger, safer Chicago, it requires investments. And that's what this budget has done.
Okay, Julie, let me get this straight right now. Okay, so he's asking for billions of dollars from the federal government to deal with the migrant crisis in Chicago. But let's hand out money for reparations because that's going to fix the crime problem. I'm not sure where the disconnect here is.
Okay, first of all, I'm not, a mathematician, but he is putting $100 million toward crime prevention, $500 million toward reparations. He wants to figure out how to properly compensate descendants from slaves, but he's not actually paying attention. He's ignoring the crime problem, and it's not. So basically what he's saying is that the crime problem is what? Due to all the blacks in the city, so let's pay them off and maybe they'll stop committing crimes. What is he trying to say? It's absolutely ridiculous. How about giving that money? How about giving that money to the police and actually empowering the cops? I know you're laughing.
No, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the fact that you
ridiculous. What? I mean, I hate to call, I got to call a spade a spade. It's ridiculous.
I'm sorry. Spot on. Okay.
Thank you.
High five this woman all around. She just nailed it. He literally, the only thing he said in the beginning of that SOT we played was government, because he believes that government should control everything around you. And the point of where the money's applied does imply that blacks are the problem, and if you give them some cash, they won't go rob your store. This is ridiculous. But this is what happens when you elect a socialist and you get someone who is actually a segregationist, because he's not dealing with the illegal aliens who are in these poorer neighborhoods in Chicago. He's not dealing with the effects of that. The fact that winter's coming in the Windy City, things will get worse for people who can't afford heating, people who can't afford to take care of themselves, and they don't do anything about the rising crime because they keep reducing the police force by their policy or the fact that people don't want to join the force. So who pays the price? Oh, here, what, 500 million? Divide that out by the number of poor people. By the way, who gets paid?
Hand out money, yeah.
Who gets paid? I'm a black man.
I have an
Do I get
idea,
paid?
though. I do have a sense of why he's doing this. And Carol, I'll take this to you, because basically, if you looked at the city council meeting when the